The origins of pinball are intertwined with many other games. Games played outdoors by rolling balls or stones on a grass course, such as bocce or bowls, eventually evolved into various ground billiards games. Games played by hitting balls with sticks and propelling them at targets, often around obstacles. The evolving outdoor games finally led to indoor versions that could be played on a table, such as billiards, or on the floor of a pub like bowling and shuffleboard. The tabletop versions of these games became the ancestors of modern pinball. Pinball machines, like many other mechanical games, were sometimes used as gambling devices.
Here, over there, see? Just a minute. 400, 800, 11, 15, 23, 24, 2400. You can't beat me.
Care to bet?
Sure, I'll bet.
The stakes we discussed?
All right, Barry. Sure. After all, why not?
The bet?
A bet.
Hello, Barry. Evening, Molly.
Just a minute, please.
Suspense is terrible. But don't shake. This is frightfully important. We're betting.
Is it a private bet or can anyone get in?
Very private, isn't it, Molly? Now, wait a minute. I've one ball, and I need 1,000. All right? Here goes.
Well, you made it.
Just shot with luck, aren't you?
Skill, my lad. Skill.
What was the bet, Molly?
On advice of counsel, she refuses to answer. Pardon us, please.
Some pinball machines, such as Bally's Bingos, featured a grid on the back glass scoring area with spaces corresponding to targets or holes on the playfield. Free games could be won if the player was able to get the balls to land in a winning pattern. However, doing this was nearly random, and a common use for such machines was for gambling. Other machines allowed a player to win and accumulate large numbers of free games, which could then be cashed out for money with the location owner.
12.
Pinball was banned beginning in the early 1940s until 1976 in New York City. New York Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia was responsible for the ban, believing that it robbed school children of their hard-earned nickels and dimes. LaGuardia spearheaded major raids throughout the city, collecting thousands of machines. The mayor participated with police in destroying machines with sledgehammers before dumping the remnants into the city's rivers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Like New York, Los Angeles banned pinball machines in 1939. The ban was overturned by the Supreme Court of California in 1974 because 1, if pinball machines were games of chance, the ordinance was preempted by state law governing games of chance in general, and 2, if they were games of skill, the ordinance was unconstitutional as a denial of the equal protection of the laws. Although it was rarely enforced, Chicago's ban on pinball lasted 3 decades and ended in 1976. Philadelphia and Salt Lake City also had similar bans. Regardless of these events, some towns in America still have such bans on their books. The town of Kokomo, Indiana lifted its ordinance banning pinball in December 2016. Despite this ban, pinball designers continued to operate. While pinball was officially banned publicly, it was still legal to own machines for private use, not to mention rogue arcades and bars who placed pinball machines in dark corners in opposition to the bans. The ban was finally lifted when Roger Sharpe, a star witness for the AMOA, Amusement and Music Operators Association, testified in April 1976 before a committee in a Manhattan courtroom that pinball games had become games of skill and were not games of chance, that is, gambling.
Many people looked at pinball in general across the board as being games that were gambling games and not games based on skill. And in 1941, Fiorello LaGuardia in New York wound up taking an axe to not only pinball machines but also jukeboxes and other devices and outlawed the games, and that really resulted in not only the abolition of pinball being made available in New York City, but also in other areas, Los Angeles, Chicago, other communities. In April of 1976, I testified before the New York City Council. Part of my testimony was also to demonstrate that the games were based on skill, and wound up playing before the City Council members. They said, fine, that's it. And the City Council in April of 76 voted 6-0, and without any vanity at all, then Mayor Abraham Beame signed a legislation on my birthday of that year, August 1st, to legalize pinball. Chicago soon followed at the end of 1976, and pinball was effectively available in most every place in the United States.
Companies like Gottlieb, Bally's, and Williams proceeded to develop new innovations for their games, like double flippers, free balls, and electronic games. In fact, many localities regarded free balls different than free games and allowed pinball machines that had this feature to be used at public locations. In addition, the artwork on the machines became more elaborate and intricate, attracting new visually impressed fans. Even in the shadow of the ban, the pinball industry had found a way to survive.
Come on, Moon.
Hey,
Come
now,
on.
don't
You're
break my
nothing.
concentration.
Come on, you're
Don't break
nothing
my
at this game.
concentration. You got
Break
me.
your concentration. What concentration?
I got it.
You're
I
nothing
got
at
it.
this game. It's nothing. You're not going to beat my score.
Yeah, there.
You're not going to beat
I
it.
got it.
No way.
Eat.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Moon.
I got it.
You
there
tilted
you
the
go,
machine.
Hot Shot. I was.
You tilted the machine, Moon. What are you talking about? That's not the way to play, you know. It's not fair.
Like all things, pinball's popularity seems to come and go, and right now, it's coming again. We are in what I would like to call a renaissance of pinball. There are a handful of companies left making machines and making awesome new things all the time. Stern Pinball, Jersey Jack Pinball, Spooky Pinball, Dutch Pinball, Chicago Gaming Company, and American Pinball are out there making machines right now. Stern being the biggest manufacturer left. The other ones are more boutiques and specialty machines, but you can still find what you're looking for out there in the market right now today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have an awesome day. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below, and to click that little bell next to the subscribe button so you can get all the recent updates and notifications on the CaptNRetro channel.